Dear ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I hope that all of you are doing well. I am Dominik Plattner, ITTF High Performance Manager, and I am very happy and proud to warmly welcome all of you to our first lesson of the ITTF High Performance and Development 4 classes with Massimo Costantini, with the topic Beginners. Before starting the lesson, I want to talk shortly about our lesson code, about our rules. To all the attendees, please mute yourself and turn off the video. Just Massimo's and my micro and webcam will be on. Please don't touch anything regarding the recording of our presentation slides. And please leave your questions in the chat. We will try to answer as many as possible in the question and answer part of the lesson. Thank you very much. About the idea of the lesson. The ITTF High Performance and Development team came up with the idea of having this lesson to keep the table tennis community not just connected, but also to continue with our educational stuff, although unfortunately not being able to have training camps and activities at the moment. Beside today's lesson, 3 more classes will follow on the coming 3 Fridays, continuing from the hopes to the nationals and ending the series with the professionals. So stay tuned. I wish all of us a very informative and educational lesson. And now the floor is yours, Massimo.
Thank you very much, Dominik. Yes, as you already announced, we came up with this idea to prepare some lessons for our passionate coaches, players, and more. So today we start with the first class in let's say in how to do with the beginners. So I have prepared slides, some slides. So I will share with you. Just a second. Time to upload. It takes very little. And we go. There we go. So yeah, the class of today is taking consideration the how to do with the beginners, and next week will be for the hopes. So a group of players, let's say around 12, 13 years old, and then we have again the nationals. So those players reaching the top level, let's say, in the country and facing international scene and professional. So the last class will be the professional. So these classes will feature different aspects of coaching, of course, addressed to coaches, but not only for the coaches, as we said several times. So starting the class, I think it's one of the key point is the basic skill is the communication. So when you have to deal with any kind of players, communication is not only about knowledge. Of course, knowledge is something that you have to have, and I'm sure on the other side of the screen, all of you already had a lot of experience and practical work with any kind of players. So I believe that this part of the communication is quite important. So what is the best way to communicate? I normally use a very let's say straight way to communicate. So what is the best? To be clear, of course. So we don't have to go around anything thinking that is too complicated or too difficult to explain, especially when you have to deal with the kids. So to be clear, to be direct, of course, it's important that the communication is direct, has to go straight to the point, and to be simple. So these three, let's say, elements makes the communication reaching properly your players, whoever might be in front of you. I believe these three are very crucial, because when you deal with the kids, kids are let's say simple, they don't want complicated situation. So at least at that stage, of course, we will see that as soon as we go to the next stage, and next stage, communication will change. So I want to start this with the communication, because I believe it's very important to start. So we start with this class with beginners, as we said, and we have some basic elements, of course. I made everything based on the simplicity. So we know that table tennis is a very complicated game, very complex game, but at the end is a game. So it's a simple game, actually. We don't need too much, at least in the initial stage. So what we have, I listed the 4 basic elements. So first is having fun, learning, of course, pillar number 2, applying what you learn, and test what you have applied. So starting from the first element, I think is something that kids need to have in mind since day one they come in your venue. If some of you remember, we had in the beginning of this series of meeting with the table tennis knowledge, we had Timo Boll with us. It was a very interesting, let's say, meeting with him. And he said a very simple, important thing. He said that when I go and train or compete, I have to have fun. So if this is said by one player like him, so it is very clear that we have to keep this element always there. Always there. For the kids is a must, because, as I said, is essential for improving, is a perfect anti-stress, is of course, as both said, is a fundamental for performing. At the end, of course, any sport is a game, so any game is made to have fun. Of course, it's important for education. So education also goes through having fun. It increases the self-confidence. You see also some kids or even players, formed already players, when they are relaxed, when they enjoy what they do, they have fun. I have one example that I want to bring with you. Is during the last World Championships in Thailand, the Junior World Championship, there was the Taipei team. I was just in front of my place where I used to work, and they were doing warm up. But the warm up was in a way where they were enjoying completely freely the time were assigned to them, and they were enjoying counter loop, some weird things, some jokes and so on. And then you could see that the expression of their face that was just enjoy. So having fun, guys, is for me is an element super important to face this kind of discipline. I would say any kind of discipline. So continuing with, of course, relieves fatigue, and it is also part of development and more. So having fun is one of the pillars that we have to consider when we start working with the kids, when we continue to work with the kids, when the kids becoming better and better, when they start thinking, you know, to be a champion in their age, and then to accompany them. So for me, this is something that has to accompany throughout the career of a player. So the second pillar is the learning. The learning is of course the definition of learning we know very well: to gain or acquire knowledge of or skill in something by study, experience, or being taught. So it's important, and the learning experience is a part where they just touch the let's say the discipline of table tennis, and then automatically they do a learning. So it doesn't matter what they do in initial stage. We can let them play freely. There is absolutely no issue. Or they can play what they want. There is no rules in the beginning. It's not a sport yet. We know that rules come when the sport is there, when there are the rules of the sports. So they can play. They can just go freely on the table. And the importance of the initial inputs. Why? Because the kids are fresh, are new, are like I don't know, a container, let's say, where they just receive information, and we don't understand what's going on in their mind, but they learn a lot, and the initial inputs are very important. I've seen many times kids coming in the venue, and maybe having not so good experience, or coming there crying a little bit, and you couldn't see them again in the venue. So the initial inputs is very important, because we have to give them the opportunity to have a good memory, let's say, like that, of that experience. So the learning process also continue by having some of course methods of teaching, and some of you may know, of course, that there are these three ways to reach out, let's say, the moment I would call the moment of learning. So we have to teach in a way where we reach our kid or a group of kids, whatever. And we have, of course, the verbal, we have the visual, and the kinesthetic. So the verbal, of course, you explain things. You talk with the kids. You talk. You explain. You have to play in this way. The grip is in this way. So it's just auditory. They listen to you, and then they try to translate what they are listening in learning experience. This goes for any kind of let's say education pathway. Besides of this, also there is the visual. So when the kids coming in the venue, there are other kids maybe are playing, and they are doing some good stuff. I remember, this is my personal experience. The first time I went in the venue, I was like 8 years old, something like that, and there were two people playing with the lobbing, you know. At that time, I'm talking about almost middle of 60s anyway, but they were lobbing, doing some funny strokes far from the table. And then I immediately, after some times, I realized that that experience, the visual experience, was very, very crucial, you know, for me get attracted, at least to get attracted, but not only for that, but also to learn. I learned a lot when I saw player executing the top spin or servicing, and this is a very important phase where you can show the kids how to do, and the kids learn how to do. So this is very, very, very important. Again, at the end, we have this kinesthetic method, let's say, and you've seen many times, and maybe also you have done many times, when the kids find some difficulties in doing what we do. We go to the kids, we grab their hand, maybe we keep the shoulder, or we try to play together with the kid. So we try to make them the feeling of the action, of the ball, of the everything related in that moment, can be forehand, backhand, anything. So I think you have done many times. So when we have these three methods, then we can test for ourselves and see, okay, I have analytics method where I go individual, verbal. So we have to make sure, as I said in the beginning, the communication has to be clear, direct, and simple. So we have to make sure that our communication is reaching our interlocutor, so our player. This is very important because not to create any, let's say, confusion, at least. Visual, again. So when you observe children doing their stuff, you will notice how they tend to copy others. So this is a very normal experience amongst the kids when they are each other. There is a sort of learning each other and teaching each other, because one copying the other and the other copying the other one. So it's very, very interesting matter, this and maybe we can have in future some meetings regarding these aspects, because to me it's very, very deep, interesting matter where we can understand better. But we know that in table tennis works like that. And at the end, of course, kinesthetic, helping the children to feel the action by using playing basically with them. So besides that, we have the mother of all learning things, which is the repetition. So the Latins used to say, repetitia mater studiorum, they used to say. So repeating is the mother of every kind of study. So in table tennis is very true, because you have to repeat the action, you have to perfect the action, you have to adjust, modify the position. There are a lot of things that cannot be done just in a blink. So we have to repeat. Now our job in that moment is to give time to process. So kids are not the same. Kids are learning different, getting different, and our communication maybe doesn't reach properly, as I said before, and we will see later on why. But kids need time to process. So need time to process in order to understand better and better what is the learning experience behind. The last method is let's say is a combined method, and we can use and maybe you already do this. We can use a combination of the methods, verbal and visual, kinesthetic and verbal, or all three together. Maybe you are there with the kid. At the same time, you can help accompanying and hitting the ball, and then you can talk a while during this action, and maybe you can draw his or her attention and tell, see the other table, how they doing like that. So the kids learning, having a sort of let's say inputs coming in, and the key of the success. Sorry, the game of words. The key of the success is to find the key to open the door of the communication and learning. So it's very important for you to try different way, and be flexible when you have to deal with this. If a kid doesn't understand in a way, then you try a different way. If doesn't understand in a different way, there is another way. There is always a way to teach the kids and the kids to learn. And again, repetition is, of course, is a must, as we said several times. And the time to process is also important. So the third pillar is applying skills. So we have they are having fun, they are learning, and now they have to apply the skills. So applying the skills is turning a theoretic idea into practical action. So the practical stage. As I said before, as indicated, I can read with you. I prepared this simple slide, you know. Repetition is a practical stage of applying any skill. So whatever you do, once you repeat, and repeat, the skills will come. For any stage of teaching any basic techniques or any element related to table tennis, it's very important to investigate. So when they learn, when they try to apply, your job is to investigate and see what they are doing. If there is some wrong attitude or any other things, at the same time you observe them. You observe the reaction. You can tell very easily when you have a kids coming in the venue. There is a face that speaks for themselves, you know. So the body, what we call the body language. In this case, you can see the satisfaction. You can see the realization of them. You can see the frustrations, of course. So for you, it's time to investigate and observe what they are learning in that moment. And the last part of these four pillars is the how to test the skills. So I enjoy, I'm learning, enjoy, I'm also apply, I try, and then I go for some tests. Test is something very interesting because as I've written there, is the act of watching results, practical stage with solid results. So now the kids coming in a point where they have the results of their learning process. So it is not an exam, of course. We are not talking like in the school where they have to study something and they have the test. But in a way, for them is a sort of test. So I have listed some. I call the 7 T's. But you can take them freely, randomly. Is not important. But for you, it's important, as I said before, to observe, to investigate, and observe them in that moment. So you can use target, you can use tools, you can discover also some talents while they are playing. this is a part that we have to definitely maybe to have one class only for the talent, the identification of talent. But this is a good time, because you can tell them when they have to do something. You can see, when you see 2 or 3 kids, the ones that has a better, let's say, harmony in moving, in reaching the ball. Another one maybe is a little, hesitating. Another one not well coordinated. There are some, as I said before, they are comfortable. Some other, they are frustrated. So observing is very important to also to judge and to find the talent. So at the same time, as I was writing, thinking, you can put some threshold. You can say, okay, now we go for a rally, and then whatever the number we can do, we keep going, Let's see how many you can make it. Or, as I said before, you can put a target. You can put something on the table, and they have to hit that object. Or maybe you can say, okay, let's go 20 times without making mistake. So for them is the moment to test their skills. This is very important. This is very important because from this they can have a very strong reaction in order to feel, wow, I made it. They normally they go immediately to the parents, and then, hey, dad, mom, I made it. I did this, I did that. So this is very important, and trust me, is a very important moment when you are there and you are teaching the kids. So as I said, there is no limit to your creativity. I have listed some essential elements, but if you have anything else, actually, so we have the chat over there. If you think that something can be added, this is a class where we want to return to you some knowledge, but also is a class that also we can implement, we can integrate, and yes, we can make the class in a sort of interactive, let's say, at least. So I have one more T, actually. So for me, the most important thing that connects all the T's is this additional T, which is the truth. So you cannot cheat the kids. You have to go really with the very straight in what happened, because they need the truth in order to get little challenged also, I would say. So they need to understand, okay, this was tangible because you see, you have learned this because you have done that. And then for them, this is the moment, oh, I learned it, I made it. So I know that I have to go through that process in order to be always successful. And we will see later on that being successful in doing these simple things will dramatically increase the level of their confidence. And last but not least, also let's say the ability to make them loyal to you, to make them happy to come again. And maybe you see the kids coming the next day and the next day and the next day. So at that stage, it's very important that I would say more success are more important than the failure. Failure will be there. Failure, they will learn for sure, and how to deal we will see in future. But for them in that moment, in order to increase their confidence, it's super important that they go through the success. For example, I want to just tell you this. I have seen many coaches that try to, I don't know, to play with the kids and make the kids frustrated because they don't win the point. I'm saying that you don't have to cheat and let them win the point. You have to create maybe the situation where they win the point. And then they feel that that situation is true. It's very true. And then they are very happy and realized and super, super confident in what they do. So besides these four pillars, having fun, learning, applying, and testing, in between starting the going to the techniques part, in between we have the discipline. I'm pretty sure that you already thought yes, 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 but what about the discipline? I take just a few seconds, some water. So discipline is it's another part extremely important where we have to be careful, but also we have to pay a lot of attention. So training and that makes people willing to obey or more able to control themselves. As I've written, discipline is a vast matter which has an underlying objective, making people responsible for their action. I have listed some discipline related to the table tennis specifically, but for the sport in general. I call honoring the values of sport. So discipline is related directly with education. So it is well connected, of course, that when they have to go through the process of the discipline, the education is included, let's say. So then when we go to the table tennis, we have the discipline, we have the education, then we have the learning. All together comes in a sort of a mix. So when we have the discipline related with education, of course, it's quite normal that honoring the values of the sport means respect. So respect is absolutely important. Respect the opponents, of course. Later on, respect for the rules, respect of anything is around the players. So and then with this we go for the behavior. It's also when they come in the venue, we have to pay attention. Okay, we have said many times that a coach is not only the ones that has the knowledge to teaching forehand, backhand. This is maybe the easiest part, but we are also educators, right? So we have to pay attention that the behavior is a proper behavior, and as I said before, if I have a group of kids behaving properly, then the new one coming and then watching them doing something the way they do. I give you a very simple example. It comes one kid, and then the other kids, they are doing, for example, some warm-up. So the kids immediately will understand that warm-up is the first part of the training. Oh, maybe the kid came a little late, so maybe I have to come a little before. I have to be punctual in order to make. So without, for example, without saying anything, the group teach the kids what to do, how to do in order to behave properly and having the class right in that way. So of course, when you behave, as I was saying before, there is the environment. There are other people. There are the tables, balls, anything is there in the venue, and you have to pay attention for that. And then the respect is not going only to the other people, but also going to the in environment. So then we have, of course, in that age, it's important to teach them the value of the sportsmanship. And at the end, we have also the equipment. How many times you have seen kids not having that much feeling with the ball or the racket? They come for the first time, they take the racket, they start hitting the table, and then you know, maybe making some damage. So this is a part. As I said before, I have listed the few. And if anything you feel that also can be added, and I'm sure there are there, and so feel free to drop a message there, and then we will take in consideration. So after that, we can start with the part of technique elements, and this is a part. Well, I would say a bit easy, but at the same time not easy. We will see when we go stroke by stroke. So when we have the techniques, the technique elements. We have to keep in consideration the first time. You just think about the coming the first time, the grip. The grip, of course, is important. The ready position, the tapping, bouncing, the push, the forehand, backhand, sideways step, and the transition forehand and backhand. So let's take a look to each of the technique elements, and I have given a few things where you have to think. I'm pretty sure that you know very well the grip, you know very well the ready position, the push, and so on. So I try to make to fill up these elements with some few things. So the grip. So what to consider? Children will automatically adjust the grip as per their previous knowledge or for their current comfort. So maybe they have played already at home. Maybe they have played tennis. Maybe they have played other sports racket, or maybe not. Or maybe they come for the first time. They see this object, how to keep is like this or that. It's a little new for them. Another thing to think about: how big is their hand? Their hand is small, and sometimes, many times actually, we use the regular equipment. Okay, we can have a small racket. I agree, with the thinner handle, but this is a part that they don't tell you anything. You know, it's not that. How many times you heard, no, coach, the grip is, I don't know, it's too big, it's too small, it's too loose, it's too whatever. They don't say anything. So you have to you have to imagine and maybe investigate, as I was saying before, and observe their reaction. So due to the size of their hand, it might be not easy for them to find the ideal grip. So it will take time. So consider it as sometimes to study. So as I said, don't put too much let's call pressure on this. What to avoid? This is maybe we can try to help them. We have to avoid that they get wrong habits. If you remember, I said it's important the initial inputs. The initial inputs are important because they many times they can how to say consolidate or fix some habits. And sometimes they are wrong habits. Sometimes they are they are right habits. So, for example, they hold the racket with two hands, like they want to do like in tennis, or adjusting the racket. How many times you have seen they make a stroke and then they adjust the racket and then play another stroke. So this is a part, as I said before, to learn from them what are the tendency, let's say, in doing one thing rather than another thing. For the ready position is a very, from my point of view, and also you can confirm, is a very dynamic process, you know. So it's not that the ready position I learned today is the ready position that I have after 20 years of career. So it changes in different way because of the techniques, because the tactics, because the individual skills that will come later on, and so on. Legs position, of course, when we talk ready position, legs position is important, and of course they are short. They are not that tall. So we have to pay attention not to keep the legs too wide, too open, or nor too close, to have the body straight. Of course, we have to have this attitude of bending the legs. We will see when we talk a little more deeper about the techniques why we have to bend the legs. And it looks banal, it looks very simple why we have to bend, but there are more things behind. And then the arm position. So it is important that the students learn to keep the racket high. We will see later on that it's quite normal for them, maybe because the racket is heavy. We don't know. For them, they are small. The racket is about how much? 170 grams, 180 grams. Well, when you're there for maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, maybe for them it's quite heavy. And then it's normal to have a sort of drop, you know, of the racket, because their muscles are not ready yet for that kind of work. But we have to remind them, because our job is not to tell them one time, is to remind and remind. So after the ready position, we have the first encounter of the table tennis, let's say. So what do I need? A ball and a racket, of course, and we start to see what they can do by, you know, by tapping, bouncing the ball. They have to understand what is the reaction of the ball on the racket. So if the racket is flat, if the racket you can teach them. You see, if you keep flat, the ball will bounce properly. If the racket lean right, left, wherever, the ball will go. So they start a sort of learning the reaction of the ball on the racket. I remember there was one kid starting bouncing the ball, and she started bouncing. Was a little kid of 6 years, 7 years old, starting bouncing and going in circle with the legs, because there was a tendency of not to keep the racket. So the first day was like that. The second day, then you try not to go around, or maybe try to go around on the other side, and then slowly she learned how to do, and then getting very skilled at that. So is the way where they start understanding some feeling with the racket and the ball. Push. So I think that normally the push is something very natural, start very, very in the very, very beginning. And the principle of the push is moving something forward. So it's just if we talk about, of course, table tennis, is to accompany the ball from one place to another place. So in the action of the push, we can teach them, to be gentle, to accompany this ball towards the other side of the table, and at the same time we can start telling them, look, the push is not something that you hit the ball and goodbye. So we have to go in a sort of round trip, let's say. Let's call it like this. So the arm goes forward, accompany the ball, and then getting back to return to the ready position. It's very simple. But as I said before, let's give this kind of information, because this will come in your help when you need to do other more advanced things. So so the follow-up, the action is important, as I was saying, so going forward and going back in a sort of continuous, in a sort of a wave, or continuous, call it as you wish. Forehand, I put this easy but not easy. The forehand, it's easy because they all know, basically. It's not that easy like a backhand, we will see after sometimes. The forehand, what to pay attention is that very common that the arm of the child tends to drop, as I was saying before. So when the racket going down, and you have to make a forward action, actually the racket is not going forward, but is going upwards. So this is an initial input that can make more mistakes, I have to say. So I have noticed so many mistakes just because of that. We are not talking at all about spin, top spin, back spin, anything of that. We are in the initial stage. They are learning. They have to learn let's say, the proper techniques. So we are talking about the forehand, what you call drive, counter, whatever. So when you do this, the action should go straight, not upright. Why? Because many times this kind of stroke leads to miss the ball, to send the ball too high. And I have done many experiments with the kids, asking them, okay, now let's try to send the ball to the net. So deliberately send the ball to the net. And magically, they were not sending the ball to the net, but they were sending the ball on the table. So they have to have also this kind of perception, on where this ball going. If I'm going up, then the ball will go up. If I go straight, the ball goes straight. If I go down, the ball goes down. It for us are very simple ideas. It's a very simple concept, but for them it's not. So for them, it's important to understand also what is the dynamic behind. So where to start the action of forehand? Of course, we don't have anything. So whenever they try to open the racket, they don't know how much they have to backswing. And also in table tennis, trust me, it's not easy to tell them, okay, you have to keep the arm 45, 90 degrees, 120 degrees. For them is just Greek for them. They is abstract. They need some sort of as I said before, tangible. So they can try freely. There is no problem. Maybe you can try to tell them, okay, keep the arm at the same level of the body, for example. So you can try different way and see what is the reaction the reaction from them. And the last is where to end the action of forehand. So there is an end to the stroke because one is strictly connected to the next. We have noticed that table tennis is a one motion rally. Let's go like that. So many mistakes coming because a player playing the strokes make mistake because they stop. And when they have to restart the action, they have to restart the process of motion. So the process of motion goes through the process of the brain process. It is like running. You run, you keep going, and then you stop. And then you start again running. Performance is not there, of course. So in table tennis, the movement starts when the rally starts, and it ends when the rally ends. So there is no stop. We have to connect continuously in a sort of a fluent action with the forehand and backhand. This is something that we can tell them. It's not weird to tell, you know. So we have to tell them when we go with the forehand, maybe we create a sort of a circle. The Chinese used to say, you know, the semicircle with the forehand, semicircle with the backhand. We will see later on when we have the transition. So we have to explain, maybe to visualize what they have to do, and then they will do. Trust me. So they will execute whatever you will tell them. Going ahead, we have the backhand. To me, I think is the simplest, but not only to me, for each player. When you see the player coming in the venue and then play freely, they start playing with backhand. They have the right leg in front. They move, you know, the shoulder in front, and whatever they do with backhand. Why? Because there is the body is the point of reference. So the racket is not going back, is not going behind the body like in the forehand. So it's very simple for them to keep the racket in front of the chest or stomach, depends how tall they are, and just to go forward, you know. So so what to remember, I said that being the simplest action, it is very easy for the children to learn, and they tend to play more with backhand rather than forehand. So the techniques is to keep the racket always high, and especially with the short kids, they can stay close to the table, so the racket is above the surface of the table, so it's quite easy. But what to avoid is we tend as a coaches to because we want to make it easy for them, is to give high ball. But for them, the high ball is the hardest ball to deal, because they don't understand the principle of the trajectory. They will learn, definitely they will. But in that moment, if we want the best success for them to get the proper, you know, rhythm and proper action, we have to send the ball always very, very low, very, very low. Keep the ball low is the way that they can learn. And of course, you can do also high ball, and then they have to learn, and then you can make whatever you wish in order to make them learning more. Sideways steps. This is something that also I said, invest today to gain tomorrow. So many start working with the kids, just keeping the kids in one place, making the rally very, very static. So they stay there. You see, they are like almost sleeping, and they just hit the ball in a simple way, and automatically they learn, it's quite boring actually. So make it dynamic, make it immediately dynamic. And they will learn, of course. You will teach them, you will show them, you will accompany them, and then they will be very, very involved in the let's say in this dynamic activity rather than static activity. So sideways steps we have seen also in one of our weekly lessons. We have seen that sideways is something that when you learn in the beginning is something that you need for sure 100% throughout your careers. So it's very important to learn properly in the very initial stage. This part is like strokes, exactly like the strokes. To do this is not important to do at the table, but also it's important that they do some shadow, maybe behind another players, or maybe behind in front of a mirror, or in front another player, and so on. The last important thing is the transition. It's not too early. It's not too early. I call this a basic integration. It's not too early to start teaching them that table tennis is a transition game. It means that the backhand can be mixed with forehand with middle. Think about, and you will see that it is like that. So it's not the all one-way game where you play only one thing. So we know very well it's a situation sport. It's a situation sport. The transition plays a very important role because is the how to say is the main ability that a player should learn properly, especially in that age. So you will see that when they learn better and better, this kind of ability is coming to your help. They will be very comfortable when they have to deal with some situation. Of course, in the beginning, you go for 1-on-1, whatever. We will see when we talk next week with the hopes and behind. But this is very important from my point of view to teach them. At the end, I have prepared. This is the last slide. Sorry, Dominic was a little a little long, but this I have prepared this working chart. It's very simple. I called 5-star progress. So for each pillar, having fun, learn, apply, test, you can give to the kids, or they can also put some sort of self-evaluation. Let's go like that. The 1-star, 2-star, 3-star until they reach the 5 stars in all these elements. And this for them is another part to see their progress, to see the tangible, let's say, results and progress of their time they spend with you in the table tennis venue. Okay, I stop here. I hope you liked this first lesson, and I want to send you a huge thank you to all of you, and giving appointment next lesson Friday 24, always at 3 o'clock European summertime. And now I can drink some water and return back to Dominic. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Massimo, for this very nice and informative educational lesson. But you just have a short time for drinking your water, because 2 questions arose.
Okay.
And, the first question is from Ahmed Davlatli, and he would like to know the best average age to start learning table tennis, in your opinion. For example, if you are thinking about Harimoto or Ito, and they started so early. So what do you think?
Well, I think that a situation sport, is a practical sport. The more you do, the better. So I believe that to start quite early, is absolutely good. Well, we have seen the tendency in Asia. Recently, we have been in Japan. Kids 3 years old, 4 years old, with the small short table, starting do the very basic, like I was explaining before. So I don't think there is an ideal age. I would say the more they play, the better. So I don't know, 6 years old, starting with the basic knowledge. But this also depends the different condition around the world, you know. So there are places where it's easy to start doing table tennis at the early age, maybe because the parents, maybe because the club, maybe because. In other places, maybe is a little bit more difficult. School interaction also is another part. Can play, not saying negative role, but can definitely be there when you are in process to start a sport, table tennis or whatever. I would say that is again 6, 7 years old with the good guidance, good teaching, can be the key, you know, to switch, let's say, the spark from the kids, to make them motivated and eager to be there. And you will see when they say hi, bye, I see you tomorrow, and the next day they are coming maybe half an hour before, because they are so willing to. Those are the signal important, where we have to try to, you know, to help them.
Thank you, Massimo. And the second one is also from Ahmed Davlatli. He's talking about slide 9. It is about the verbal, visual, and kinesthetic methods, approaches. And
Okay.
You mentioned and you said when you observe children doing their stuff, you will notice how they tend to copy the others. And he would like to know if demonstration should be by the coach, should be included in the visual part.
Yes, it's not. They see the coach as the owner of the knowledge. So they are there because of you. They are there because they want to learn from you. So showing them how to do, of course, with the different in relation of the body structure, or any other things involved, how they tall are and so on. So for them, it's important that my coach is doing like that. Okay, is like that. When I mention that the kids learn from each other, is a natural way for them to learn. So for us, it is also easy, you know, to get the kid, or maybe you are there, you show how to do. How many times we have done, you have a group of 10 kids around the table and you show them how to do, and they try to copy. Okay, let's take Giovanni, come here, try to do like I do, and then they try, and then they learn from the kids doing that. So yes, it's very important that the coach should demonstrate simply and clearly what to do. For them, you are the North Star, you know, you are the leading, you are the boss. So for them, they see you like the boss. I don't know how to say. So whatever you do, they will catch. Whatever you do, they will understand. And sometimes, if you do something wrong, they come and tell you, "Coach, but you did that one. That was not good. You kept the arm too much low." I had this kind of experience. So for them, you are really the guru, like the Indian, my friends from Indian said many times. So the guru is the teacher, and the teacher needs to give the best example. By the way, hi Ahmed, nice to have you here. Thank you.
Massimo, thank you. But meanwhile, you were answering the two questions. The last two questions arose in the chat. And the third one is from Martin Fidala. And he would like to know something about the serving with kids. How about practicing service with kids at the very early stage? Should we focus on it or leave it at a little later?
You know, as I was saying before, when we were talking about the teas, you know, you can see from the kids, from a group of the kids, what is their tendency, what is their, you know, there are kids, they are maybe, you know, acting like doing the proper serve. Other kids, they just don't care. They're just going boom, sending the ball there, or maybe they don't want to serve at all. They just give the ball on the other side, whatever. So I believe this is a part where the coach has to, how to say, to detect, to identify what is the best need for that player, for that kid, what is the best need for the other kid. Yes, we have to go through a certain normal or general knowledge, but I would say that if a kid shows me some special attitude, well, why I should keep behind? Let's encourage him, and maybe if we encourage him, maybe we can have other kids that get inspired from by him, and then get also motivated. He's doing that. He already is doing that. So I also want to do that, coach. Can I learn that? So it's a very interesting process, let's say. So again, I think we should not give like okay, 3 months this, next 3 months that, this and that, age this. So our discipline is really something extremely alive and dynamic. So my invitation is to refine your ability to learn from the kids, to observe, to investigate, and think about what this kid could do. What this kid, there is a player wants to start to topspin because maybe his father is playing topspin. Okay, let's try to do topspin today. Let's do this. So you have to be ready for something that come up and makes the class or the training or a player more skillful.
Thank you, Massimo. And the last one is from Afrinash M. Can differentiation be recommended while dealing with the beginners?
Sorry, say again. I didn't hear you properly.
Differential training be recommended while dealing with the beginners?
Can differentiation be recommended while dealing with the? Well, it's again, it depends, you know. So when you start something, I normally when I used to do this, I started with the very basic and simple, and then judging by their response, I can go, okay, so you continue like that. For you, we have a target of 24 and in one position. For you, we have a target of 30 backhand and 30 forehand with different positions. So you can at the same time create the differentiation in order to make individually, you know, happy and satisfied and realize of that their work. As I said before, a kid will teach another kid. So there is a very dynamic inspiration amongst them. They are not distant. They are not indifferent, let's say. They are very much focused on what the other they are doing. So then you start what we call inside competition. If I run a certain pace, I want to run faster. The other one want to run faster again. So that is the best way to create the condition to make them improving very quickly, faster than the normal, let's say like that.
Massimo's lecture was very clear. Thanks a lot to our ITTF High Performance Elite coach Massimo, who shared with us his knowledge and ideas regarding how to develop a beginner and how the pathway should look like. So grazie mille, Max.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's time for a short summary. The time is flying, and as Max mentioned, when you are working with the beginners, then it's very much about the communication, especially at the beginning. There are, of course, different approaches to communicate, but the approach should be straight and clear. You have to make the players hungry for playing table tennis. This is just possible if you are able to make them having fun. The next step is to give them the right inputs. When they are young and not biased, then it is the best opportunity to teach them the right techniques and attitude. You as a coach have to make sure that they are reaching the athlete with your communication. Reflect which method works out. Some players will react to verbal, visual, and kinesthetic signs. But on the other hand, there are players who don't. Repetition is the mother of success, as Max mentioned, especially in a complex sport like table tennis. Applying and testing conclude the 4 basic elements. Furthermore, Max emphasized that it is important to tell the athletes the truth. They will get eager to improve and create their own goals, which is very necessary to be successful. One of the most important things is the discipline within sport. It's very much connected with the education, respect, and behavior. Your job as a coach is to remind players constantly. I want to thank all of you for your interest and attendance, and I'm looking forward to our next lesson. As Max shown before, it will be on next Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Summertime, and the topic will be hopes. That's all from my side for today. Pass over to you, Max, and I kindly ask you for the closing words.
Yeah, once again, it was fun. Number one, when I was saying having fun, I had fun. So yeah, thank you very much for all attendees. Dominic, great from your side. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. I'm here. We are here always to help and give the best of us. So don't hesitate. Contact us, and we will meet again this coming Friday, 24 at 3 o'clock. From my side also is all. Thank you very much, and ciao. Have a nice summer. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice time.